Have you ever come home to be told by someone in your household that your dog got up, walked to the door, and started waiting? Not when they heard your car, not when you knocked, but minutes before you even turned onto your street? Most people who experience this explain it away as routine. The dog learned a schedule, nothing more mysterious than that. But what happens when you come home at a completely different time than usual, on a day with no pattern to follow, and your dog is still already at the door? By the end of this video, you'll understand what researchers have actually found about this behavior, and the answer is far stranger and far more beautiful than simple routine. Let's start with the explanation most people reach for first. Your dog learned your schedule. They know you come home around 6, so they wait around 6. Clean, logical, nothing remarkable. But this explanation was quietly dismantled by one of the most fascinating experiments in canine research. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake, intrigued by owner reports of dogs anticipating arrivals at unusual times, conducted a controlled study where owners returned home at completely randomized times that the dog could not have predicted from any established routine. Cameras recorded the dog's behavior throughout the day. What they found was that in a significant number of cases, dogs began waiting at the door or window at the precise moment their owner started the journey home, regardless of what time that was. Now, the scientific community has debated the methodology of those studies, and that debate is worth acknowledging honestly. But here's what makes this more than just one controversial experiment. The behavior itself, dogs anticipating their owner's return outside of any explainable routine, has been reported so consistently across so many different cultures, breeds, and living situations that researchers keep returning to it. And several more recent, carefully controlled studies have confirmed at minimum that dogs are picking up on something real when they anticipate arrivals, even if exactly what that something is remains one of the genuinely open questions in animal cognition research. The most scientifically grounded explanation centers again on scent, but in a way most people have never considered. Your scent doesn't just exist in one place at one time. It lingers. It fades at a measurable rate. Researchers studying canine scent tracking have found evidence suggesting that dogs may be able to gauge how long ago a person was in a space by the concentration of scent they left behind, essentially reading the age of a scent trail the way a human might read a timestamp. If this is accurate, it means your dog may be tracking the slow fading of your scent throughout the day, and when that scent reaches a certain level of fading that their experience has taught them corresponds to the time you typically return, their body begins anticipating your arrival, not by watching a clock, by reading the chemistry you left behind in the air. But scent alone doesn't fully explain the cases where dogs respond at genuinely unpredictable times. And this is where the research becomes truly interesting, because some scientists have begun exploring whether dogs may be sensitive to something even subtler, the kind of low-frequency vibrations produced by familiar vehicles, specific patterns of sound that travel further than the human ear can detect, or even changes in electromagnetic fields that some researchers believe certain animals can perceive. None of these explanations have been definitively proven, and the honest answer is that science has not yet fully explained this behavior. What science has done is confirm, repeatedly, that the behavior is real and that the existing explanations we have don't entirely account for it. If this is making you see your dog differently right now, go ahead and hit subscribe, because every video on this channel breaks down what the actual science says about your pet's behavior, not what we assume it means. There's another layer to this that almost never gets discussed, and it's about what your dog's anticipatory behavior actually costs them emotionally. Studies on canine stress and separation have shown that dogs experience a genuine physiological stress response when their owner is absent. Elevated cortisol, increased heart rate, a body held in a state of low-level alert. When your dog begins waiting at the door for you, part of what is happening is a shift out of that stress state, a biological preparation for reunion that begins before you are anywhere near home. In other words, your dog doesn't just wait for you because they know you're coming, they wait for you because the anticipation of your return is already beginning to ease the ache of your absence. Cats show a quieter version of this behavior that owners often miss entirely because it looks so different from a dog's obvious doorstep vigil. Rather than positioning themselves at the door, cats who are bonded to their owner often begin shifting their location and activity in the period before that owner returns, moving to spots closer to entry points, becoming subtly more alert, sometimes vocalizing in ways that differ from their usual patterns. Because cats express anticipation so much more internally than dogs do, this behavior
frequently goes unnoticed until an owner specifically begins paying attention to it, at which point many describe being quietly astonished by how consistent the pattern actually is. And here's the final piece of this, the one that makes it all matter. Your pet's anticipation of your return is not simply a behavioral quirk or a fascinating scientific puzzle. It is evidence of something your pet carries with them through every hour of your absence. They are not simply waiting in a neutral state for a neutral event. They are waiting for you specifically, in a way that is written into their biology, their stress hormones, their scent memory, and quite possibly their perception of the world in ways we are still only beginning to understand. The door they watch is not just a door, it is the place where the most important thing in their daily life is most likely to reappear. So the next time someone tells you your dog was waiting before they could possibly have heard you coming, before the car turned the corner, before any ordinary explanation applies, consider what that might actually mean. Not a mystery, not magic, but an animal whose entire sensory and emotional system is so specifically attuned to you that the boundary between your absence and your presence is something they feel long before you walk through the door. And every single day, without being asked, they wait for that moment anyway. If this video helped you understand your pet a little more deeply today, do one simple thing before you go. Hit like, leave a comment telling us if your pet has ever waited for you before they should have known you were coming, and subscribe so you never miss what we uncover next. Because the more we understand the animals who wait for us, the more we owe it to them to come home.